Good day, everyone. This is Rob Peters, founder of the Standard of Trust Group. Today's presentation is titled The Era of Standard of Trust Leadership. The one idea I share with you the next few minutes, I argue is around this one idea. On the left, Aaron Feuerstein, the founder of Malden Mills. In December of 1995, his mill burned down in Massachusetts. He made a remarkable decision to continue to pay his 3,000 employees while he rebuilt the mill. This caught the attention of 60 Minutes, and Morley Safer interviewed him and asked him, well, Aaron, this might have been a high-minded moral principle to continue to pay your employees, but it couldn't be good for business. And Aaron Feuerstein stated, well, Morley, it was good for business, but that's not why I did it. I did it because it was the right thing to do. In the middle, Adam Brown, legendary U.S. Navy SEAL who died in Afghanistan. Built a remarkable reputation for being probably the most team-oriented Navy SEAL in the history of the Navy SEALs. Was always the first person to go through a door in harm's way, the last one to leave the battlefield, was very team-oriented, was hurt, and had to recertify because he lost his eye and the use of his right hand was damaged. He had to relearn to shoot with his other hand. Amazing example of team leadership and service and sacrifice. On the right, University of Michigan Medical System. A few years ago, they were in crisis. Accelerating malpractice lawsuits and millions of dollars being paid out. The leaders and doctors got together of the institution and said, what business are we in? We are in the responsibility business. So they went to the lawyers saying, we want to apologize when we hurt a patient. The corporate attorneys obviously did not like this for fear of liability. Negotiation went back and forth. Eventually they were able to apologize, and something amazing happened. Malpractice lawsuits dropped by 50%. Payouts dropped by 50%. They took this behavior internally within the institution, and quality of health care improved. They set a wave across the United States. Now 37 states allow doctors to apologize and without fear of liability in a court of law. Now, these are all great examples of exceptional leadership, exceptional behavior. Now the bad news. 7 out of 10 employees are disengaged, disconnected. 2 out of those 7 are actively sabotaging your business. It's a jobs crisis. It's a careers crisis. And it is a leadership crisis when 7 out of 10 employees don't fly out of bed, contributing and innovating to the progress of your business. Now, let's look at what we've been socially organized around the last 100 years. In the early 20th century, fear was the predominant social organizing force. Then it was the family. For the last 40 plus years, it's been money. Since this last financial crisis, it is relationships that is the social organizing force for progress going forward. Now, we once chose a management guru named Adam Smith, who wrote The Wealth of Nations. Many people felt he was an economist. Adam Smith was the chairman of the Moral Philosophy Department at Glasgow University. Capitalism to him was a force of mutual interactions, of competitive interactions, manifested in markets at scale. Not what you can do or can't do or what you will do, but what you should do. But somehow we chose to interpret it as some form of laissez-faire economic zero-sum game theory. Why? Because we chose another management guru, the Godfather. It's not personal, it's just business, that famous quote from the movie. Well, if you think you can keep your personal and business lives, separate, here's what happens. You get business over here, personal over here. You get too big to fail. Greed is good, and boss is saying, just get it done, I don't care how you do it. Then what happens in Washington is just politics. What happens in a Penn State locker room isn't life, it's just football. It's not life. Now, if you don't think you can maintain these separate spheres of personal and business, then David Hume, 18th century moral philosopher, comes back into play. The moral imagination diminishes with distance, but we're no longer distant anymore. Why? Because business and personal have fused. We've gone from distant to hyper-connected, from easily hidden to hyper-transparent. It's all personal. Just ask the 1 billion plus citizens of Facebook Nation. Just ask your children. They have fused their lives around this topic. Now, I know we're all good at measuring how much GDP, how much revenue, how much profit, how much debt. But we have to admit to ourselves that what we measure is a choice. It's what we value. Here's an interesting quote from the CEO of Bloomberg. We know that good companies tend to perform better, but until there's proof of that, I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of interest from investors. Wow, capitalism hasn't progressed. Well, we do have data, and I'm about to share that with you. But I believe we need to rethink measurement in this new era of standard of trust leadership. How about measuring relational capital and the quality of trustworthiness across all stakeholders? We should be measuring that and sharing that as part of our financials. Now, here's the data I've been speaking of. I've been consulting around this topic for 10 years, been searching for data that showed that performance and values actually are integrated. 36,000 employees, 2 million observations across 18 countries and cultures. Here's what it found. 43% of cultures of business today are blind obedience or conformity cultures, rigid hierarchy, dictatorial, coercive behavior. 54% are informed acquiescence. We agree to the command and control structures. Here are the carrots and sticks, rewards and punishments. Here are the rules. This is typically how success has been measured. 97% of firms are acting in this conformity acquiescence mindsets. Only 3% of firms do the right thing self-governing, where they connect and collaborate. Values and principles guide more so than rules. Inspiration is the renewable energy that drives high breakthrough performance. And it's a journey of purpose and significance, not of just traditional success. Some good news. By any measure, statistical measure, if you want more of or less of, as you move from left to right and you elevate your culture towards do the right thing, misconduct drops by half. Innovation almost triples. Loyalty more than doubles with your employees. Satisfied customers, it goes up tremendously. Now, we have to admit the traditional mindset of business is around three areas: closed, selective, and controlling. That doesn't work in the knowledge economy anymore. Now, traditional carrots and sticks approach have worked very well in the manufacturing. You could count the number of widgets, and carrots and sticks, worked pretty well in that. But in a world where you need more innovation, more performance, more high-level collaboration and trust, you need network thinking, ORS, open mindsets, accepting of randomness, and more supportive of your stakeholders, your employees, your customers, your clients, your partners. Now, I know it's not an easy journey from linear thinking to this network mindset, but this is where we're going if we want to keep away from being commoditized in this marketplace. We need to go on a trip. In order to get employees to go with us on our vision and our journey, we need to go on a trip. We need more risk-taking. We need more, which leads to innovation, which leads to progress. Now, what do you need an abundance of in order to more risk-taking and more innovation and more progress? Well, we need trust, deep relationship capital trust. That is the foundational aspect in order to start this trip. Now, the idea. I believe standard trust leadership is about integrating results and relationships, not one over the other. A friend of mine met John Wooden, the famous UCLA basketball coach in the late 80s. He won 10 straight men's basketball championships. And he asked him, how did you do it? And the coach said, dual commitments, relationships and results, not one over the other, but they're equally important. So we need to optimize and fuse and guide our businesses both on the quality of our relationships and integrating financial performance. Now, I believe it's all about mindset. If you ask two bricklayers, what do you do for a living? Well, on the left, he'd say, I'm a bricklayer. I lay bricks. If you ask the bricklayer on the right, what do you do for a living? He says, I build cathedrals. I work with a team of fellow bricklayers, and we are driving that. Now, imagine who gets better performance? Who does it more efficiently? Which teams work better together? The bricklayer on the right and his team. Now, I recently published a book called Standard of Trust Leadership, available on Amazon Kindle. Would love to have you read it. I think for leaders such as yourselves, maybe you'll see the vision that I see and the reality in this new era that is hitting us square in the face. If we want to retain our top performers, if we want to have breakthrough performance and have clients who are delighted with our services, it's the hows, we need the values, we need the drive and passion. Otherwise, the top performers won't stay with us. I'm Rob Peters, founder of Standard of Trust. Appreciate the time you spent with me today. Look forward to sharing more of my thoughts in the future. Have a great day.